Voy a leerlo en español y después en inglés. Mi gato negro ignora que va a morir un día. No se aferra a la vida como yo. Salta desde el tejado, ligero como el aire. Se sube al tamarindo, arañándolo apenas. No lo amedrenta el paso de los puentes, ni el callejón oscuro, ni el pérfido alacrán. Mi gato negro ama, a cuenta gata encuentra. No se deja atrapar por un único amor, como lo hice yo. And this poem by Clara Alegria. I'm going to read it in English now. My black cat is oblivious that it will die one day. He doesn't cling to life so tightly, like me. He jumps from the roof, light as air up the tamarind tree, barely hanging on. He's not terrified of crossing bridges or dark alleys or the treacherous scorpion. My black cat loves any lady cat he meets. He doesn't let himself be trapped by a singular love like I did. So today for the reading, um, I want to read from my chapbook. It's like 10 years old. So in the poetry world, the chapbook is kind of like an EP. So you know how for musicians you have your full length album and then you'll have an EP that's like 4 or 5 songs. So that's kind of how I think about chapbooks too. It's like usually about 20 pages of a writer's work most of the time, emerging or younger writers will release a chapbook prior to their first book. So I put this out maybe about 7 years ago. Um, and it's a lot of my really early work I haven't read in a long time. But I want to read it I, today because I think um, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And a lot of these poems circle around domestic violence. So I wanted to bring it to the forefront. Um, Also, I wanted to say that a lot of us survivors don't rely on prisons and police to keep us safe. And there's a whole community of survivors that are looking about how to get access to resources and healing outside of prisons and police who we know will exacerbate the problems. So I'll start with this poem called Those Sundays. It was written after Robert Hayden. My father worked too many hours. He'd come home with his cracked hands and bad attitude. And I'd rather talk about Roy now. His blonde locks, how the sun would comb crowns into his hair. Rory was my first love before he killed himself. My father hated faggots, the way my cock looked beneath a dress, the mismatch of his chafed knuckles and my cut cuticles, a scrambling of hands. I was always running, mas- uh, massacre, my mama, mascara, my mama would wash the red paint off my nails and face. She'd hold me, like the frame of the house. No, the bars of a prison cell. Mijo, your father is coming home soon. Hide your heels. I'm the donkey, clacking down the hall, clanking down the hall, click clack, click clack. Over Mama's body, he grabbed me and threw me against the wall. My bruises, dark as holes, he punched into the wall. His hand was the hammer, I was the nail, and I want to talk about Rory now. That night, after my father smashed the television glass with his baseball bat, I met Rory at the park. We made a pipe out of a plastic bottle and aluminum foil. He watched me undress and run through ticking sprinklers. I fell beside him then beneath the maple tree, and he saw my goosebumps from the cold, and he felt my bruises as they became a part of him. Rory, I want to say that death is what you've always wanted, but that can't be the truth. This time, we can blame it on me. I'll be the packing mule, carry all the burden. And you can be the child again. Fold your church hands like dirty laundry, crease them tight. Nobody has to know about us. Not my father, not yours. No, not even God. And I'll read one more poem.
I'm
Uh,
sorry. Could you repeat the name of the poem that you just read?
yeah, that was called Those Sundays. It's published online as well. And if you go to La Pescucha, it's a literary magazine based out of San Salvador and the United States. The editors are in Los Angeles. La Pescucha has English and
La
Spanish.
Pascucha.
Pescucha, yeah, has English and Spanish translations.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so I'll close with this poem. It's called Middle Class Fistfight. I hate these poems, and you've been dead for so long now. I barely have any memories left of you. The road trip to Arcadia, where 30 yards from the horses we slept, amongst wild acid flowers, the sweet earth everywhere, air with its fake gold dust. I want to say that the dead have purpose for the living, but I could barely remember your voice, your face. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Christopher. I'll introduce our next poem, and I'm going to pin. So pin meaning highlight Sara in our space. Okay. Oh, sorry. It's Joshua is next. Sorry. Joshua. Just give me one moment. All right. Our next poet is Joshua Escobar. Joshua's Bareback Nightfall. His book is part performance, part concrete poetry, and stands as a kind of homage to one of queer culture's central locales, the gay bar. Escobar's work is daring, experimental, and often hilarious. The book has been described as, quote, an archive and textscape, like a foray into a palm tree forest that never loses sight of the things that murmur just past desire. Escobar himself has been described as, quote, one of our most vital new voices in Latinx avant-garde literature. He holds 2 master's degrees, one of which is a master's of journalism from UC Berkeley. He's a California regional chair of Canto Mundo, the literary organization, Latinx literary organization, and is co-founder of the zine Orange Mercury. He hails from the California Inland Empire. My family's also from Victorville, whoop, whoop. And this inspires some of his writing. He's currently a professor of English and director of creative writing at Santa Barbara City College. Please welcome everyone, Joshua Escobar.
Thank you so much for putting that bio together. It's really meaningful. It's some of this, like, my work has also been described as like messy broke and like, what is this? So thanks for being super nice about it. I'm not part of Canto Mundo anymore, but I really believe in that organization. That's really cool. And for young poets out there, especially Latinx poets, it's a great organization to look into if you're looking for a community like after school. All right, so I'm gonna read from my book, Bareback Nightfall, which came out last July at the start of the pandemic, or not start, but like whenever July was during the pandemic. Ashtray's music. This poem is called Ashtray's Music. You catch me staring at an egotistical urinal Friday, meanly, like any other lime-juiced American love. It's quite possible that threats move about in the darkness unless Copernicus is thrown into whatever we're making. I fill myself with cold water to the core. Tomorrow would be your birthday. You are a long way back. Your revamped eyes on Prasita. Donna Fortune has her own pedal now, and it's not because we eat less. Tomorrow is for the post office with some possibility of getting kitty stamps. My ears get vexed with your hands on them, and I actually care about the future, even though I'm not enough for this legislature. He says, love means to finish in Spanish rather than the English. The wind burns with your absence. As your atoms stir inside my chest, we cave at our own risk. You make me ooze immature venom, blow my fantasies. Coming early has never been a problem because you have to have me. Deserving nights become robotic and other guys make me hot. I had their fever, and you said my skin was like a banana peel. My feelings get in the way, but there's never much I can do about them, except rest when I have fever, and dance and mess to get over the chills. I am not like your male, covered with a blanket in a back seat. This is how I'll wind up. And this poem is called DJ, I Was Just Like You. And so in the book, there's kind of two main characters, a DJ who's like a hot mess and loosely based off of me. And then there's a doctor who is like super hot, but he's also a big mess, but he's like established and cool. And so these last two poems were written by the doctor. DJ, I was just like you. Circulation of the marvel of the fragile sane. I am tempted to cry when they shine while counting the number of illnesses alleviated with the tan. I've been trained to be unsympathetic to the messes you make for yourself. I give out medicine for free on Sierra. My moans know zero. Ill honey bed. Jealous I can sleep. Jealous you can spit. Burning sage to have my way. I didn't stop for them and their Herculean love of ass, but if I wouldn't have made it, gay bars never play the music of my late brother, but repeats and zippy conversation in a society discovered to death. XO pain, yellow breaths, avocado oil covers my naked doubts, gorgeous fools beside the verisimilitude of setting. And this may be just like my Christian upbringing. My parents were evangelical when I was a wee lass, but whenever I like cuss or like say something like sexy in a poetry reading, it feels like, I don't know, sacrilege. And but I'm trying to bring like Cardi B energy and Megan Thee Stallion energy into what I do. And then I'll read one about the Inland Empire. And it's called Atomic Girls Sachule la Lepreza. And I'm very much a Spanish language learner. All right. In a parking lot, feeling the casual stop of muscle, vehicles dead asleep alongside stucco rises, sore haircut mess, never grew up thinking I'd be a cocksucker. Sun dying valley, head and shoulders awake, you know, treasure fiends waiting with more sacks than Santa for a cheap ride out of Pomona. Stray flyers are piercing the pepper trees on the 10, while I try seduce, revolve my beat up tires. Left turn, a refinery, demos, anti-gravity, and that we're super broke. Another parking lot, stray boxer wants only papas fritas. Yellow light, a billow bites into the junction of avocado messengers, scuba perros, peach tree mujeres. The Ides of Arcana lets me ride in her truck bed, alongside weed whackers and jugs of herbicide. We talk voltage showers and froth, lips and Mexica juice. I used to mix brackish water with old tequila, polka dot strawberries and prep, aged in her garage, popular with our broke-ass friends. Dirt channels inside as her truck steals onto the trails to lavender chaos. My neighborhood appears across Caliente Valley. By November, it will be abandoned. The air cold enough to bust windows and for desperate coyotes to dip into the houses of pigeons. Others get used to this mess. The copper strays on your back, CDs and old magazines in the riverbeds, the citrus fest. The devil stands in yellow drapes with a high collar holding a sack of wild Savoya. That rug under him will outlive us. The valley draws so many mysterious gente, juicy tongues, juicy ears, end up confetti. Your friends die or become dead to you. Night curls up in the dirt in the valley of sun. Valley of sun where I felt love and it was citrus. Where I felt love and it was burnt cilantro. Valley of sun where I felt love and it was heat and retro. Valley of sun where I felt love and it was at noche. Valley of sun where I felt love and it was bananas in El Garaje. It was no anchor. Where I felt love and it was later. Where I felt love and I was pretty oblivious. Valley of sun where I felt love and it was chingona and disco guayuajesa. Where I felt love and it was chile slashed and burned. Where I felt love and it was Chihuahua beauty supplies. Valley of sun where I felt and it was. So I'm gonna try to read new work, and I wrote over the summer, and it was I spent 3 hours a day because that's what C.S. Giscombe, the poet, says you should do. And I was just trying to be serious and smart because my first book was all over the place. And I was poets are serious and smart, and that's who I am. And then I try to embrace my messy side after that. So anyways, how am I doing on time? I tend to talk a lot.
You're good.
Okay, so I'm going to type in the word into the chat that begins this poem, and I think my next book will be a book-length poem. And I came across that on NASA when I was on a little tangent. I'm I'm not going to go on social media. I'm going to read NASA stuff. And I came across that word. So albedo, a jackal invention, an index for solar reflection, the sky here sent from Neptune, deciphering what's visual early summer, a mountain range named after the Virgin, up and down its peaks, plants grow younger. The road scrubbed every 7 days, resentment accompanies fantasy, and neither is worth very much alone. Everyone loves cinema, everyone defiles distance. Most of our existence is quiet, indifferent to the degree that feelings wear off as they become material. For street theater, death wedded to history, the history of revenge. Iced almond matcha in the streets, art school in the sheets. Desiring where anyone is from, down the state on a bus, the colossal sleeps through misery. At Court Square subway station, crowds attracted to the good and bad therein. Solo efforts, collective movement, public effort, areas regularly wiped down. A heavily stickered ticket machine, the steps of everyone. Creamy pavements hampered and scuffed with hallucinations. Some already leaving work, seated, feeling last night out. After it rains, logic gazes up at industry, stuck or unfathomable enough to miss, like its demographic, drawn to the low cost of living. On the subway, noise takes on a different character, like a best friend or someone like me sharing the same problem each time a different way. The spaces commuters stare past, love, even the feeling of it is beyond what anyone does here. Being noticeable is bad enough. Whatever its history, travel should be free. Many respectable industries today rely on people living in jeopardy. Some even wield it. The jails our ideals permit. Our ideals, at least some version of them, remaining as they are in flux. Youth after virtue, knowledge after virtue, transportation after virtue. In Queens, the exteriors of apartments reveal less about their tenants than the traffic that goes by. There usually isn't that relationship in lower Manhattan, zones of which are drawn from everywhere. At night, in the gay parts of the city, the hot are drunk, the ugly are rowdy. No one tries being beautiful, it just seems sad, unless you don't know any better. All day, desire wrestles behind truth, a bear on a beachhead, a field in sudden history. The sky, also a haptic fabrication. The beach, with a few fires, ends, not part of life. An oil rig geometrically related to light, questions grown over cliffs, in the ocean, lime green, for a while. Intimacy is a struggle for everyone. An experimental filmmaker notes visions of planets swoon over the immaterial. The feelings culture prolongs, advancing along coast, casually unconcealed. The torso of the metropolis, the emptying of shadow, diffuse about a place. On the way home, mango and papayas are sold from the back of the truck by guys quieter than my older brother, knowing it's not easy to replace anyone. A pigeon with a twisted feather hops by. Commuters wearing similar expressions toward the street furniture moved aside. Their lessons in confidence useful to anyone first embracing their sexuality. In warehouses branded as detention centers like Adelanto, championed by the local mayor because it'll repave the roads, children free themselves with cartoons. Life exists that way sometimes, wind in a monkey's hair. All right, I think that's all I'll read. Give space for Sarah, who's the star of everything and teaches me how to be a poet. Oh my God, if you don't follow her on social media, follow her on social media. The other day, she was like, I can't stand these poets. And I'm like impersonating Sarah. She was like, I can't stand these poets who are like, I can't help you right now because I'm writing a poem. And I was like, that's me. I do that. So when I write poems now and someone asks me for something, I help them. So very excited about this and thanks for organizing.
Yes. You all are poets and teachers, right? Teaching each other, but also teaching our community in Here Now. So please do follow all three poets and teachers on social media. I have the pleasure of introducing Sara Borjas as well. I'm going to pin Sara, which sounds weird, sorry. I'm using the language of Zoom as well. It's terrible. Okay. Welcome, Sara. Sara Borjas' first book of poems, Heart Like a Window, Mouth Like a Cliff, was published by Noemi Press in 2018 and received a 2020 American Book Award. In it, Borjas, who describes herself as a Chicana pocha, pocha's in the house, I claim that too, takes an unflinching look at family and assimilation on the path to cultural and familial pride. It has been described as, quote, the tender confrontation of what it means to want to flee the things you need most. Shying away from nothing she finds there, Borjas fiercely claims and reclaims her family, her hometown of Fresno, and her ancestral knowledge or heritage. Sara has been named a Poets and Writers Debut Poet, is a Canto Mundo Fellow, and the recipient of the Blue Mesa Poetry Prize. Her work can be found in Plowshares, The Rumpus, the Academy of American Poets, and The Offing, among others. She currently teaches at UC Riverside, Inland Empire, in the house again. Please welcome Sara Borjas.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for being up at this time, awake and shit, and humoring us and loving us and just making us feel I don't know, visible, and it goes both ways. We're glad to be here with everybody, to be invited. I'm gonna read a poem by someone else to start. It's just a poem I really love, and it's by Diana Marie Delgado, and it's from her book called Tracing the Horse. It's called Notes for White Girls. Roaches bubbling out of the drawers and cabinets, so many that each time a boyfriend asked for something to eat, I'd head to the kitchen, turn on the light, and squash my hand with whatever I saw, squash with my hand, whatever I saw running. They thought I had them sit in the living room because I liked serving them. Life as a girl in a Mexican family can feel different. Sometimes, like you're not part of the family. So, my homegirl, Erica, that I worked with at Denny's when I was a teenager, was like, always call me a pocha at work, and I didn't know what it meant. So I would just laugh because I was like too ashamed or embarrassed to ask what it meant because I didn't speak Spanish, right? So I was like, oh, for like 2 years. And then one time I was like, what does that mean? And then I think I looked it up online or something. And it was like, Mexican who's highly assimilated, forgotten or lost their heritage, or like rotten fruit. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. But it's also like true, partially true in a way. And so ever since then, I kind of embraced like, all right, I'm this way. It's not my fault. I didn't make this choice, right? Like hundreds of years of bullshit has happened that has put me here. And I don't feel ashamed about knowing that. And I was like, well, if there's a restaurant we could work at where all the pochas would be, back on it, what would it look like? And so I made up like a fake restaurant and it's called Pocha Cafe. And here's the poem. This is what we do there. Pocha Cafe. Here we use Cholula, not homemade salsa. We'll serve corn tortillas with your bacon and eggs. You can ask what is in everything instead of just eating it. We know you pochas love to do that. Enjoy a quesadilla with American cheese. Or nachos we prepare in our brother's hand-me-down microwave he gave us just before he joined the Air Force, or just a flour tortilla spread with butter. Here, we listen to War, Smokey, Selena, The Smiths, and Art LeBeau. Let's dedicate everything to our incarcerated cousins serving bullshit sentences in Wasco and Corcoran and Chowchilla state prisons, though we never put money on their books or write them. At Pocha Cafe, we play blood in, blood out, or stand and deliver and mistake someone's dad on the daily for Edward James Olmos. Even we think all Mexicans look alike, or that all Latinos are Mexican. And that's why our Salvadoran and Boricua homies talk shit, but that's what people do when they love you, so fuck it. If you're a downright cultural traitor, come on in. Here at Pocha Cafe, we only order rice and don't speak Spanish so we don't get corrected, and we stay out the fucking kitchen like our mom has told us. We refuse lemons and corridos in solidarity, except when we are completely wasted drunk. Then we can listen to El Rey and drink Victoria and embrace our stretched soul befuddled half-assed gritos. If you don't know the words to El Rey because you don't speak Spanish, just make up nonsense words and sing the hook because you've been drinking and you love that shit. You speak better Spanish when drunk anyways, or you only speak it drunk because sober you doesn't want the colonizer's language. You ain't about colonizing the self. You're about decolonizing your consciousness, your morality, your diet, your love. Speaking of pain, come listen to Amor Eterno and step on each other's dirty Converse. Let's be resentful about how we didn't have a quinceañera and forget that we never wanted one until we were sophomores in state colleges when we took a Chicano studies class and gave ourselves a Nahuatl name and joined Mecha. Let's never forget how we thought the big dresses and gold chains and placas were tacky, or how we were too ashamed to wear anything that made us look proud of ourselves. Oh, what? You're having a baby shower and your son is turning 2? Come celebrate at Pocha Cafe with our never-ending beer package. You have a padrino for the beer, right? We might be understaffed, but your children know how to garnish your beers, we're sure. In fact, they might be drinking because some primo you call Johnny or Mike or Bill, and whose real names are actually Juan and Miguel and Guillermo, is telling them to be a man, or trying to get them drunk so they can kiss them behind your Theo's work truck in the driveway while everyone is in the backyard listening to 2 Live Crew. Come to Pocha Cafe and expropriate your Pochaism as an act of empowerment. Let's compliment each other on how articulate we are, like the white teachers at school. Fuck it. Let's listen to country music and sing cry. Let's mess up the cholo handshake because even our muscle memory forgot our bodies. And this way our folks can feel better about themselves when they judge us. Orale, Simon. Let's find affinity in canned menudo and cilantro with the stems all up in it. In the pig's foot that grosses out half of us and makes the other half of us feel Mexican for once. Gather up all your impurities, your anglicized names, all your anxiety attacks and bad accents, your scraps of culture and half-bred shame, and put on your dickies and your gold loop earrings and come lend us your broken Spanish. Come get drunk enough to tell your dad you love him and your sister-in-law to finally fuck off. Come be the part of yourself that scares the entire family. All you pochas, you might know who you are. And I'll read another poem from my book, and I'll read a couple new poems. This one's called I Know the Name of the Desert, and it's after another Fresno poet, David St. John. I know the name of the desert. There is a desert inside my mother's iris, a flesh-colored truck rambling through miles of packed dirt, where my grandmother is leaving my grandfather, driving away with all his kids. Dirt rises and fails along a road in El Paso. Sand freckles underneath tires. 8 small hands ring like rags. My grandma reaches over the cab, over 3 of her daughters, to slap my mother across her face. She calls her tortilla quemada, cara de mierda, because she has my grandfather's big teeth, wide canyon mouth, cheeks like hot, empty plains. My mother would rather cut off her hands than hit me. She would rather swallow boxed Chardonnay, open her throat like a rusty silo for rain, light a candle for a girl she knows, and turn this evening into a watermelon sliced, a rest stop where she is allowed to play. In her iris, there is a desert. There is a girl who does not cry, a woman who wonders what she did wrong. I am a daughter who walks through a desert, carrying my mother's wounds. Each open palm across her child's face, each time a man offered her something he did not have. I trudge a lineage of exiled desire, thirsty. I love my mother by drinking her cheap wine with her. I bend down in the sand, lap my own sinking steps. And I'll read 2 more poems, not from the book, but just other poems that I'm trying to like make happen. I'm trying to make fetch happen, you know, I'm trying to make these poems happen, but after 2 years, which I'm not ashamed about, but it's just, you know, you can't really create through the struggle like that, you know. This one right now is called Chicana Ars Poetica. And I wrote it at an artist residency in Maine that I went to last year, which I didn't realize there were these things called artist residencies where you like, there's like these estates or like rich people and foundations who host artists and you can go for a month and like make work. So I applied and got it and I was like, sweet. So I was kicking it in Maine. And this is the only poem I wrote there. So I was there for 6 weeks. Chicana Ars Poetica. I want to feel precious before I die. I won't deny it here. I'm strolling a cemetery in Maine. Between the bars of wind, the stones prove dedication, purple loose strife. I long to be designated the exact corner a man dying demands. Place my body next to Sarah's insufficient manuscript, her cat eye manicure, her lavender, crooked eyeshadow. Listen, the man I love, he cannot be distracted from his instrument, his art, his mother he did not save or forgive. Is it wrong to want to be someone else's future? And like goldenrod, turn a field late towards beauty, like an overgrown cemetery in the center of a red state. Through the headstones, ragweed, dandelion, roots growing under grass, contemporaries. I'm trying to be in love here, but I was born with this fence around my face. Call it someone else's regret. Centuries, drought, dead book. Ross Gay wrote, beautiful poems come from the sorrow that love is being hurt. I'm hurt. He has named his guitar Sandy after his mother. Each book I write will adore a desert. In my future, I'm wearing my favorite t-shirt. I don't own it yet, but it's an alien smoking a long cigarette. But is it art? It says. I know when my heart falls on a man with his mother's face, abandoned, it won't figure what was never there. It will not be art, just my impatient eyes, which are my eyes, which are mine. And I'll read one more poem. My bad, Josh. I wasn't trying to make you feel guilty, but also I'm glad you helped call me out, whoever it was. I always, yeah, I feel like poets are just like oftentimes like sensitive, mindful humans. So it's just like easy to learn from them because we really like spend our time. We still fuck up, but you know, we spend more time on things that other people don't probably.
Hey, Sarah, can you quickly share the poem you read by someone else, the name of that poet?
Yeah, I'll share it. This is the book. It's called Tracing the Horse by Diana Marie Delgado. And the poem is called Note for White Girls. This one.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. This is the last poem I'll read. This is the only other poem I'm kind of feel like I'm done with. Also from the artist residency. And it was just weird because I was at this like super white space, which is like most spaces, right? Like this is a white space too, you know, but we're making it work inside, right? We're doing our best, showing up. And it was weird hearing the artists, which were almost all white artists, talk about like what they were doing there. A lot of it was like painting nature. And I was like, man, I'm just trying to learn to be less racist here. Like, that's what I'm spending 6 weeks on. So it was weird. So I started writing this poem that was like about me and then ended up being about them. And I think it ended up being about all of us. It's called, I'm So White. I'm so white, I got straight A's. Chose French class over Spanish. When I finally took Spanish, I got the homework all wrong because my mom said the teacher's Spanish was all messed up. I was so white, I hated tacos. I was so white, I hated beans. I was so white, I thought I was dirty. I was so white, I stopped playing softball so I wouldn't get dark in the summer anymore. I was so dark, I called my friend Carlos midnight because he was dark as fuck. I'm so white, I don't think it's a big deal. I'm so white, I conflate being Latinx with being Black. I'm so white, I never give props to Black people for the oldies that make me feel like myself. I'm so white, I was afraid of the dark. I'm so white, I'm still afraid of the dark. I'm so white, I'm afraid of people, like any people. I'm so white, I'm even afraid of poor white people. I'm so white, I'm staring at a lake right now, writing a poem. I'm so white, I'm wearing a cardigan with pearls on it. I'm so white, I only ever dated white boys in my teens. I'm so white, I never thought about why I only ever dated white boys in my teens. I'm so white, I was thankful. My white boyfriends cried for Black people and migrants in cages. I'm so white, I like to read poems about Black people and migrants in cages. I'm so white, I'm super angry right now. I'm so white, I'm angry at even white people. I'm so white, I'm not even exhausted yet. I'm so white, you should listen to this one podcast. I'm so white, my syllabus is the same every year, but I will never ever get fired. I'll get tenure. I'm so white, I say racist shit about white women not winning the Pulitzer or being eclipsed by young poets of color and cry in my beautiful house and use my book contracts to wipe my tears. I'm so white, I'm really uncomfortable right now. I'm so white, I think my discomfort might be suffering. I'm so white, actually, I am suffering. I'm so white, I'm an individual. I'm so white, I want to know how I can help, but please know that I am asking as an individual. I'm so white, we got to do better, I say. I'm so white, I'm having an identity crisis right now. I'm so white, I don't know where I came from, but I could look it up. I'm so white, when people tell me to go back, I say to where? I'm from here and forget research exists. I'm so white, like now more than ever. I'm so white, I say people voted for Trump based on economic issues. I'm so white, I defend white people I never met or will never meet and will never know. I'm so white, I stand up for poor white people over Black, Latinx, API, or Indigenous, or any other people who are also poor, but maybe who are not people. I'm so white, I'm crying in this meeting. I'm so white, I'm crying in this meeting. I'm so white, I'm crying in this meeting next to this beautiful lake. I'm so white, only my friends of color can console me. I'm so white, I look to nature so I'm not distracted by what's going on. I'm so white, did you know my daughter's in college and very political? I'm so white, I'm relieved to be at this artist residency so I can take up the work at hand. I'm so white, I see trees and think about dignity, and I think I deserve to think about trees. Thank you, everybody.
Yes. Maybe I'll read your poem at the next white privilege workshop that I run. I don't know if I could do it justice, but it sure does capture something important. Thank you, Sara. So we have some time to open up the floor to questions. I know it looks like we have 2 full classes in the house that we can't really see, but we have Dr. Navarrete Garcia's ESL 10 class, and I think we have Roberto's Puente class in the space as well. So let's take this opportunity to pause this, to stop the recording and just open it up to students and community. Who has questions or comments or shares